Hey friends, I have a very simple recipe for you today. It's my homemade brisket that will be put on an offset smoker. I had intentionally meant to put it on my pellet grill, but that's a whole nother story. I'll tell you about it shortly. But I'm just going to be using basically a dry rub that I'm going to be making, that I'm using, and I'm also going to be adding some granulated garlic to it. So first what I'm doing is I'm cutting off all of the fat off of the meat side of the brisket, and I'm going to also take off that silver skin as well. And so I don't have a very good knife, so don't talk about my knife. I've been struggling the whole time. I didn't realize that this boning knife was really not a good boning knife for cutting brisket and cutting the fat off of this beef until I actually got my hands involved and started cutting. But anyway, I'm cutting away a lot of this excess fat off of this side, and I'm also trimming down the sides that got oxidized meat on the side. I want it to be nice and pink and not look like it is right there on that end where it is looking all brownish. So I am cutting all of that off. And of course it was not working in that pan. I really needed to, I don't have a really big cutting board, a wooden cutting board. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just use this countertop of mine, because I know I can clean it up and there is no germs and things like that on it, because I'm good with the bleach and the Clorox bleach wipes and all of that. So anyway, going forward, I'm just trimming this off. I don't want more than about a half an inch of fat on the back side or of this brisket. So I am cutting it off, and then I'm also making sure I have at least about an inch of meat on the bottom edge as well. On the actual flat side of it, I want it to be at least an inch thick, or thumb size in width thick. If not, it's going to overcook and be extremely dry. So that's the reason why you see me just cut that big piece off of the brisket. Don't worry, I will be using all of this stuff that I'm cutting off. I'm gonna either make some sausage with it, some beef sausage with it, or I'm gonna make chili, or I'm gonna use it and just grind it and make some hamburgers. So I don't want my brisket to have pointed edges because they burn quicker. So that's the reason why you see me rounding it off. And I am, learning how to become a better griller. Anyways, I am just steady trimming. You do want a very nice knife to trim with, but as you can see, I'm just taking my time and trying not to go too deep and nick into the meat. But if you do and you go real slow, you can easily pull back and not continue on nicking the meat on that side. So anyway, I think my brisket is a little bit too warm. I should have let it be a lot more colder than what it is, but setting up the kitchen and all of that, I should have kept it in the fridge. So I think that's another reason why I'm struggling trying to cut this extra fat off of this brisket. So I'm on the point edge right now, which is the fatter side. And that's the side that should stay closest to the flame if you're working on an offset smoker. But if you're working on a pellet grill like I was supposed to do, you just want to use the top rack so that it has better, so that it does more of a circular motion when it's cooking. So I don't get to show you that process of how I smoke a brisket on the pellet grill, because my pellet grill, like I was saying, wouldn't work. It didn't turn on. I was so devastated. I changed the actual fuse in it and it still wouldn't cut on, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So I winded up calling the grill company today about their grill, and then they are like, oh, we're gonna send you another control panel. We believe that's gonna. I'm like, okay, now I guess I'm gonna have to learn how to fix a grill. She sent me a video of instructions on how to do it, so hopefully it's not that hard, but I am gonna have to get out there and dismantle it. So anyway, I've cut off all the fat and I have the excess meat, and I put the fat in that pan because I'm gonna actually put it on the grill, and I'm gonna create some wagyu or tallow. I shouldn't say wagyu, some tallow from this brisket. I am using some Worcestershire sauce as my binder to hold in all my seasonings. So I have a pretty thick dry rub that I'm using. I happen to pick this one up from the airport actually, and I wanted to try it out, and it is very pepper forward, and I love pepper, so I went ahead and purchased this brisket. I don't want to over season, but I do want to season pretty well, you know, so I'm making sure I season all the sides, I rub it in, and all of my meat is covered in this wonderful seasoning. Then I'm gonna go over it again with some garlic powder, because you know your girl is always gotta have some granulated garlic powder or granulated garlic in everything. So I am now sprinkling that on as well. And so I'm gonna put it in the offset smoker. I have hickory wood that I'm gonna be using, and so I'm going to put it in there, and it's gonna take what, 10 to 12 hours just to cook this half of a brisket. This is not a full brisket, this is the half of a brisket that I took the brisket and cut it in half. But anyway, this is the halfway point, and it wasn't the color I needed, but this is the point where I can go ahead and I can wrap it at this point. As you see, I'm really going through this really quickly. You guys didn't have to wait not 12 hours, or 10 hours or 5 hours or 7 hours. You guys only waited some minutes. So now I'm wrapping I poured some of that tallow that I cooked down on the grill with that fat, and I poured it over the meat side of the brisket, and then I wrapped it in a tuck wrap, and then I put my thermometer back in there so that I can wait until it gets to the proper temperature before I pull it off. So now that I've taken it out and I'm just checking it, I'm going to put it in a cooler. Not this cooler, because that cooler was too small, so I had to get a bigger cooler. But anyway, after I let it come down to room temperature, this is what my brisket looks like. It is very juicy, but it is a little dry on the ends because one, I turned my brisket the wrong way. I should not have. I got a little mistakes in there that I've gotten, but overall the brisket turned out great. I'm going to slice the juicier side, and I'm going to chop the rest as you see here, and I'm gonna make some wonderful sandwiches with it. You guys, this recipe is awesome. This brisket turned out great. And as always, thank you for watching. Give your girl a thumbs up and enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. Don't forget to click thumbs up and subscribe so that you can get all of my new videos. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.